think we're going to have some fun today. It's really, 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 really good to see so many old friends, and for those of you who don't know me, to meet you for the first time. I'm really, really pleased to be here with you today, and I'm going to do my best to give you some information that I think will help improve the quality of your life. I'm energized, bouncy, anxious to do this, looking forward to sharing with you today. We're going to be talking about the prosperity paradigm formula today. We've got 11 steps to enable you to build your own personal prosperity paradigm. And a paradigm, as I use the term here, is a set of experiences, beliefs, values, and assumptions that affect the way an individual perceives reality and responds to that perception. So, and that last little bit of that phrase, and responds to that perception, is really key, because we all tend to have the opinion that reality is a set that is always constant and is always the same for every individual, that it is just this movie or program that is running, and it is invariable, that it's the same for all of us. And in fact, that's not true. Each of us creates, in our own imagination, our own reality picture. And that imagination that we have that creates our reality for us is based upon the values, beliefs, experiences, and assumptions that we make about life and our place in it. And those, of course, are formed, throughout our life, beginning from the day we were born until the day that we're present in this moment. Most of the time, especially when we're children, we are unaware of the fact that we have choices, that we can choose what to believe, we can choose what to think, we can choose how to feel, we can choose how we perceive reality and how we respond to those perceptions that we have of our five senses and of our imagination and our intellect. We have choices, and these choices determine the quality and character of our life and our reality picture. So if we want more success, then we have to get better at making choices, basically. We have to be consciously in control of who we are and what we're choosing for ourselves, how to behave, how to think, how to feel, what to intend, etc. So in this prosperity paradigm formula, we're going to be going through some 11 simple steps that each of us can do. And they're not difficult. They require some practice and some discipline, but they're not difficult. And everybody can perform these steps. We're going to talk about what you need to do to change any perhaps limiting beliefs or inaccurate ways of thinking about things that may be limiting how you go about creating success for yourself. And by success, I don't necessarily mean just the material success. For me, success is a holistic blend of the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and material aspects of life. And I think they're all equally important. And I don't think you can put one aside and say, okay, I'm healthy emotionally, I'm healthy mentally, I'm healthy spiritually, but materially my life sucks. But overall, I'm really good because I've got a good spiritual background and I know what my life is all about, and I'm feeling happy about myself. If you don't have a balanced layer of well-being in all aspects of your life, I think you're missing out on being as much as you could be and being able to contribute as much as you could possibly contribute to the lives of the people around you, your family, your friends, and the rest of the 6.5 billion of us that are walking around on this planet. Right? So I believe that each of us has the potential to create a wondrous masterpiece of our life. By a masterpiece, that's your designation, not mine. Whatever you decide is the perfect you is your masterpiece. Not what somebody else tells you, not what I tell you, not what anybody else thinks you should be doing. Your masterpiece is your life, and your life is your choice. So, despite the fact that I think we all have this potential to create that masterpiece, so many of us end up living that kind of off-the-shelf Kmart art, that velvet painting of Elvis kind of art, many times because people don't have the tools that they need in order to create that masterpiece, or they have the tools but don't know how to apply them, or apply them rarely. On Monday I apply it, on Tuesday I forget, on Wednesday I forget, Thursday I go back and remind myself and I make an application, and Friday I forget, and Saturday, Sunday I'm at the beach. So my application is inefficient, ineffective. In other words, your paradigm, your assumed and unexamined personal beliefs and individual predominant methods of thinking are probably may actually be, but are probably holding you back from fulfilling your potential to self-actualize and create that massive personal success in all 5 areas of your life. So, the purpose of today's conversation is to change that, to enable you to change your life for the better, to transform yourself. I can't do it for you, it's up to you. But I can give you some hints, some tools, some techniques, and some information that will enable you, if you choose, to move forward into creating a bigger, better, happier, more successful life for yourself. So let's get started with that and go to step number 1. Okay. Step number 1 is what I call envisioneering your reality. Now, envisioneering is my word. I made it up. And it's a combination of envision and engineering. And according to Mr. Webster in his famous dictionary, to envision means to create a picture in one's own mind or imagination. And according to Mr. Webster, engineering means the application of science and mathematics by which the properties of matter and the sources of energy in nature are made useful to people. So, therefore, envisioneering means using the laws governing matter and energy to take a vision from pure imagination and to make it real, or realize it, in the everyday world. Right? So that's what envisioneering means. Now, before anything can be created in the external world, it needs to be created in the internal world, in that imagination. So, in order to create something, even in your imagination, you need to decide exactly what it is that you want to create. And this is where most people fall down. They have nebulous ideas, wishful thinking kind of ideas about what they want to create. They say, I want to be successful, I want to be wealthy, I want to have a great relationship. But they don't take it any farther than that, and therefore there's no definition. So being wealthy is a meaningless term, for example, because if you live in the middle of equatorial Africa in the middle of a drought, being wealthy could be, have like a gallon of water and a pound of flour. If you're Donald Trump, is the favorite example I like to use. If you have $1 million and you're Donald Trump, you probably feel very, very impoverished. Okay, so wealthy is not an exact definition. It is variable from person to person. So when we say that we want to create something in our life, prosperity, health, happiness, these are all very general, open terms without any specificity. And we need to get very specific about what it is that we want to create. So if you're deciding you're wanting to create a particular kind of business, you need to put all the bells and whistles into that imaginary picture that you're creating, all the details, all the definition. Hold the picture very clearly of what it is and flesh it out, continuously adding to it all the details that you can possibly add so that it becomes real and it becomes clear and distinct and you know exactly what you're after. So the very first step in getting what you desire is to actually decide what it is that you desire. And I mean clearly define what it is that you desire. Write it down. Just go over it and write it down and draw it out. It's the office carpet is like this. The desk looks like this. The computer that I have on my desk is this model. All the detail that you can possibly muster, you put into this picture. That's what envisioneering is, okay? The beginning of any intentionally created event or circumstance in your life is to first create that ideal in your imagination in as much detail as you can possibly bring to it. And then hold that ideal in your imagination as often and as long as you possibly can in each and every day. Right? Do not get distracted by the current events and circumstances of your life. Don't let them override that ideal that you hold in your imagination. Keep your attention focused on that ideal, that perfect picture in all its clarity and definition that you've created in your imagination. Right? And we'll go a little farther into why that's important and how it works to come out into the world. Okay. So, describe that ideal in writing. Next step, find somebody to share it with. Somebody who's going to be supportive. Share it with a friend, a buddy, somebody who's going to support you, help you add more detail to it, say, what about this, what about this, what about this, and go over it with you so that you can flesh it out even more and you have somebody, that first person who's buying into your vision. Very important first step. Share it with a buddy. Right? Step number 2. called falling in love. That's what I call falling in love. We're going to talk in a little while about the law of attraction and a few other laws, but what we are, how we vibrate, the energy that we emit out into the universe is composed primarily of two things: our thoughts and our feelings. Thought is important because it defines what we are creating in our imagination. What we're thinking about is what we're creating in our imagination. Right? How we feel about what we're thinking about is very powerful, and when the correct emotional output is combined with the correct thought output, then you become very, very powerful, very creative. And you begin to get the law of attraction in action, if you will. So, you need to fall in love with that ideal that you've created. And if you can't fall in love with that ideal, then it's the wrong ideal for you. So, you have the ability to choose what you think. You also have the ability to choose how you feel about what you think. Most people, unfortunately, allow external events and circumstances to determine how they feel about themselves and how they feel about life and how they feel about their ideals. With a little bit of practice, you can actually choose in each moment how you feel. If you want to be happy, feel happy. If you want to be sad, feel sad. If you want to be angry, be angry. These are choice points. You're not a puppet. Nobody has to jerk your chain, pull your strings. Right? You can choose how to feel. And one of the most important things, emotions, feelings that you need to be in control of choosing is the passion that you apply to that ideal that you build for yourself. You need to fall in love with that. And I say falling in love because it is so much, in my mind, very much like that first time that you fell in love and that beautiful, wondrous passion that comes along with that, where that other person is so much a part of you that you cannot imagine not being with them, holding them in your arms, touching them, sharing your life, your heart, your soul, your mind, your spirit with them. That kind of intense passion is the kind of passion that you need to bring to your ideal. And yes, you can do that. Right? If you can't do it to the ideal that you created, then it's probably not the right ideal. Right? So you do this by every day practicing, right, to build your enthusiasm for your ideal. Now you're focusing your attention on that ideal, fleshing it out in your imagination, building detail to it. That will naturally result in some excitement. When you start to feel that excitement, start pushing it and get really excited and bounce yourself up and down. Say, yeah, oh wow, look at that. That's beautiful, wonderful. And build that passion day by day by day by day, okay? So what I like to say is that each morning, in order to start your day off correctly, is hold that picture in your mind, that ideal. Build the details, flesh it out, look at it, see it, feel it as real, and then visualize it as being real and how it would feel to you to have it be real in your life. Right? Get the feeling. It's the feeling that imparts the power to the thought. Right? And it takes practice, I recognize, for some people, because we've been trained in our modern society to suppress our feelings, to not show them outwardly to other people, to be protected with our little armor. But passion is infectious. And when you see a passionate person, and they're passionate about what they do, you are naturally drawn to them. You think they're somehow magical. They have this charisma about them. Right? So your passion will enthuse not only you, but other people. And as you begin sharing your ideal with other people, it is your passion that's going to enroll them in supporting you. It's your passion that will enact the law of attraction. Right? So that's the critical step 2. Step 1, create the vision. Step 2, get passionate. Right? So envision your reality, then fall in love with it. Step 3, okay. Now we come to the critical, important part, the part that most people get distracted in. And I call this living on purpose. Right? And there's 2 ways to live your life. One is on purpose or by accident. And how do you live on purpose is, well, you've got an ideal that you're going to make manifest. That's your purpose. Right? And today it can be this, and tomorrow it can be that, and the next day it can be that. In other words, our lives change and we evolve, and what we desire to make manifest evolves with time. You have that ideal, you're falling in love with that ideal, or you have already fallen in love with that ideal. Now you need to live on purpose. Right? And let's explain that a little bit. The 4 principal elements of conscious creation, intentional creation, are thought, desire, okay, or passion, belief, and intent. So by intent, when you do something, when you think something, when you feel something, why are you doing it? That's the key question, okay? I continuously ask myself that, why am I thinking this way? Especially when I find myself thinking something that is not constructive or not beneficial, and why on earth am I thinking that? I don't need to, I can think something differently. Why on earth am I feeling this way? If I ever allow myself to get depressed or tired or frustrated, why on earth am I allowing myself to feel this way? Turn the switch. It's as easy as that. Once you decide that you have control over how you feel, you can choose how to feel, as simply as choosing whether or not I'm going to have a glass of water or a glass of beer. That simple. Okay. Why am I doing this thing? Each day we get up, we wake up, and we go through the day and we do a variety of things. Most people do things out of habit. They don't actually think about why they're doing them. Right? I get up in the morning and do what I do. I put the coffee on, I have my cup of coffee. Why do I have that cup of coffee? Well, it's my habit. I do it without thinking. That's the way most people live most of their life. They get up, they go to their job, they get married, they have kids, they live in the picket fence, behind the picket fence in the home in the suburbs. They get the bigger, better, newer model of car, the flat screen TV. They go about doing things the way they do things without actually thinking about why they're doing it. And as a consequence, when it comes time in their life for them to say, I want to create something unique and special and wonderful for me, they don't know how to go about doing it. And if they do learn the trick about envisioneering and about falling in love, then they still have these habitual patterns that they do in every single day. And those patterns have been proven to produce the results that they already have. And strangely enough, most people will continue to do the same thing and expect different results, when in fact, we need to learn to change who we are and what we do in order to produce different results. So that means you have to live on purpose. It means you need to learn to think what you think, when you think, how you think, and why you think it. Right? You need to learn to attach the passion to your life, your vision, your ideals, and follow that passion. And you need to learn to do the things that will contribute to the successful realization of that ideal in your life. And that means doing the things. And that's important. There are so many people out there that these days, especially since people started talking about the law of attraction so much in the last couple of years, that somehow have come to the belief that all you have to do is think correctly and perhaps feel correctly, and that automatically the universe is going to supply you with what it is that you have as an ideal. And that's just so much baloney. You have to do things in order to produce results. There is cause and effect in the universe. I mean, action produces results, right? It's your thoughts and your feelings that will compel you to take the correct action. So they're vitally important. They're the first step. But they're not, you can't stop there. You have to produce the actions that produce the results. Right? And that means you get to choose, again, what you do. And if you're doing things habitually, in other words, by accident, and not on purpose, and on purpose means in harmony with the ideal that you want to create, then you're going to continue to produce the results that you already have. Despite how you're changing your thinking, despite how you're changing your passion, you still also need to change the things that you do. So some of the things you need to do, we're going to talk about today. Just a few. And they're very simple things. And like I said at the beginning, everybody can do them. Okay? So the idea is to go from being a creature of event and circumstance to a creator of event and circumstance. That's the simple change that you need to make. So let's move on to seeing beyond the veil. And this ties in directly to what I said about people being a creature of event and circumstance or a creator of event and circumstance. Most of us look at the world and we see that's reality. That's it. There's our picture. We don't understand that it's malleable to our intention. We don't understand that it changes according to our perception, our way of thinking, our way of responding to our perception about the world is something we can choose. So life delivers pretty much what you're going to expect it to will deliver. And if you want to have success, you need to train yourself to expect success. And I love the word expect because most people use words without looking at their meaning, and I like to look up why words have come to be, the etymology of the word. Expect comes from two other words, ex and spect, okay? Spect as in spectator or spectacle. X as in exit. Right? So expect means to out-picture is what it means. Right? So an expectation is an out-picturing. You're anticipating, in other words, you're anticipating that the picture you're holding in your imagination is going to come true for you. Now here's what happens for most people. They look at the way the world is, or the way that they're perceiving the world rather, they're looking at that, and they expect that it's going to be the same. Tomorrow's going to be the same as today. Right? Because today was the same as yesterday, it's a natural logical assumption that tomorrow is going to be the same as today, when in fact that's not true at all. Tomorrow is a complete blank slate. There is a tendency only of things to move forward in a certain way. But in any given moment, we all know this, dramatic changes can take place. I mean, dramatic changes, okay? A little tsunami, perhaps, comes into your life. Dramatic changes can take place. Tomorrow does not necessarily have to be the same as today. And it certainly does not have to be the same as today when you start to take control over yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, your choices, in other words. So you can make dramatic changes in your life as quickly as that, simply by making a firm decision, a resolve that is 100% commitment to yourself to achieve self-mastery, right? Mastery of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, and your intentions, of course. Right? So, in every moment of every day, we're making choices about how we are in the world. This vibratory output, how we are being in the world, is what interacts with the existing vibratory output of the universe to create an interference pattern that we perceive as reality. And we can change our own personal vibratory output and therefore change that interference pattern and therefore change our reality picture in the twinkling of an eye if we are solid in who we are, what we're vibrating, what we're outputting into the universe, and how we're being in life. Okay? So we're constantly creating our experiences, our reality, by the choices that we make in each given moment. Okay? We are capable of choosing something else, and that's the most important, profound piece of information that human beings have discovered about themselves, is that we have the ability to choose. Right? That ability to choose is phenomenal. And we can choose about almost everything about ourselves. You know, certainly our DNA is encoded with our physicality, but we can choose to be healthy, we can choose to be unhealthy, we can choose to be intelligent, we can choose to be stupid, we can choose to be educated, we can choose to be ignorant. We can choose to think the thoughts that are going to lead to success. We can choose to feel the way that leads to our happiness and fulfillment. We can choose to do the things that are going to create success, or we can choose to do the things that are going to lead towards mediocrity. Right? It is unfortunate, a great sadness for me, that in all of our formal education, especially in those formative young years when we're first going to school, that we are not taught how to think correctly. We're taught how to write and how to read and how to do arithmetic, right? The 3 R's. But we're not taught how to think properly. Right? It is assumed through the course of education, especially by the time you get to university, that the process is going to teach you how to think. But it often doesn't. And since we're not taught how to think, we find ourselves running this continuous subconscious tape loop, which is basically just a playback of all the nonsense that we've ever heard in our life. I mean, how many of you have, walking down the street one day, you hear this old ad jingle from a Pepsodent commercial playing in your head, or you start thinking about some meaningless thing that your high school teacher said to you, or replaying again and again and again and again the fight you had 2 days ago with your spouse, which is obviously not contributory to either your happiness or success to think about that stuff, but you're thinking about it. We do it by accident. We don't do it on purpose. So we need to train ourselves to see that the current events and circumstances of our life are not going to be duplicated in the next moment necessarily unless we expect them to, and unless we continue to do the same things and think the same way as we were before. What we are perceiving, everything that we perceive, is not actually in the present. It's in the past. And here's how simple it is. I can explain it to you. At nighttime, you go out and you look at a star. Right? Now, your immediate perception is that you're seeing that star in this moment. But science will tell you that that star is, however, say 25 million light years away. So what you're seeing is an event that took place 25 million years ago. Right? That star light. that is hitting your eye right now is an event that took place 25 million years ago. Okay? All right. The event and circumstance that is closer to home, like the breeze that just blew the trees, the palm trees outside my window right there, that also happened in the past. Right? The success or lack of success that I have in my life is also something that happened in the past. It is not my present. The only thing that exists in this present moment, purely, physically, scientifically in this present moment, is what's in my imagination. Everything else is in the past. Right? When I touch the skin of my loved one, I'm touching dead skin cells, the stuff that the body is sloughing off. Right? All of this stuff here on the surface of my skin is all dead skin cells. It is the past. Everything that we perceive is the past, and yet we consider to be our present reality. And that's what I mean by seeing beyond the veil. We need to train ourselves to understand that the vision that we hold in our imagination is the only true reality in this present moment, and that what happens tomorrow is what we expect is going to happen. And if we expect the past to be continued into the future, that's what's going to have to happen. So we need to train ourselves to expect success, train ourselves to expect that the reality of our ideal, that vision that we're holding in our imagination, is the true reality, and any distractions of current events and circumstances are merely an illusion and are only indicative of how we used to be. Okay? That was our old reality. It's all in the past. Right? Even me talking to you right now, you hearing my voice, that is actually taking place in the past. The only thing that's taking place in the present is your response, your reaction, what you are creating in your imagination to what I'm saying. Right? All right. So what you need to do then is constantly affirm the reality of your ideals. Right? Get yourself a mastermind group and speak about your ideals, share them with your mastermind group, take their feedback back, and get them to enroll in the reality of your vision. Okay? Constantly affirm to yourself and others the reality of that ideal in your imagination. And then, together with your mastermind group, because this is what they're important for, that you need external input, create a strategic plan to implement that ideal, to bring it out into the world. Right? What do you need to do in order to make that reality come true for you? So create that strategic plan. And then, some of you have heard us talk about this before, create a treasure map, that beautiful montage of visual imagery that supports the ideal. Right? It's a lot of fun, and it's actually magical, the way it turns out. Okay, step number 5. Living in grace, I call this step. It's basically a choice, again, to adopt a moment-by-moment attitude of gratitude. And this is the choice that differentiates those who suffer the slings and arrows of misfortune from those who are blessed with a joyous and abundant life. Right? And here's what I do, and I highly recommend this to everybody that does this religiously, if you will, has found that it has transformed their life in so many ways, not just in the results that they have, but in how they feel about themselves and how they feel about life and in how they respond to other people and the joy that they can bring to other people's life. And here's a very simple suggestion. First thing in the morning, before you do anything else, as soon as your eyelids pop open, you recognize that you're awake, start saying thank you to whomever. You don't have to say thank you to anybody. Just say thank you. Express gratitude for all of the multitude of blessings that you already have in your life. And there are a multitude of blessings. I begin my thing with, oh, thank you for this breath. I'm still breathing. Thank you for this breath, this new day, this moment, this opportunity even to express my gratitude. I could lay in bed all day cataloging my blessings. There are so many. You know, and you don't need a big imagination to find a multitude of blessings in your own life either. So 10 minutes, 10 little minutes at the beginning of each day, say thank you, and make a list in your head. Just run off a list of things that you're grateful for. and feel as much as you possibly can, and you'll get better at it as time goes by. Feel the gratitude. Okay? Let your heart fill up with this. Oh, yeah, wow, thank you. Okay? And then at night, and this is key, it's a great way to train your subconscious. At night, before you go to sleep, just before you go to sleep, so you go to sleep with this on your mind, say thank you for the things that you are in the process of creating. That ideal, or that set of ideals that you have created in your imagination. You are in the process of creating that. So catalog those, say thank you. So in the first thing in the morning, after your gratitude prayer, you envision, hold that ideal in your imagination. At night, you go and you say thank you for the reality of it. Thank you for the stuff that I'm in the process of creating. It's magical. It's wondrous. Wow. Okay? Begin and end each day with an expression of gratitude. It'll change your life. I guarantee you. Okay? Step 6, playing by the rules. Now this is the fun part. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about all this stuff right now because it's long and complex, and I could talk for hours about it. And there's no point in doing that when I can convince you probably instead to buy my upcoming book. And it will all be explained in detail there. Okay, the rules. The natural laws that govern how the universe is and how we get to be playful and creative within that universe. Right? If we're going to win a game, we need to know what the rules are. And if we know what the rules are and we're not playing by the rules, we get penalized. Life does exactly the same thing to us. If we don't play by the rules, it penalizes us. Not because, we're stupid, not because we're deserving of being punished or anything. It's just that, there is a set of rules, and if you know what they are and understand them and understand how to apply them to your life, you're going to be successful. And if you don't, you're going to keep hitting your head against the wall. It's a self-imposed punishment, if you will. So there is what I call the meta law, which governs all of the intellectual pursuits of humankind. And it is this. It is the law of cause and effect. And the understanding, the fundamental basic belief that we have that there is a cause for every effect. Right? All of science is based on the assumption that there is a law of cause and effect. Right? We wouldn't even go looking for the reason that something happens in the world. We wouldn't go looking for how to build a fire when we were cavemen if we didn't understand that there was cause and effect. We wouldn't have put tinder to match or match to tinder to light a fire if we didn't know that there was cause and effect as a fundamental belief. And that's why I call it a meta law. Right? There is a reason why things are the way they are. Okay? Nothing exists in isolation. Everything is connected one way or another to some fundamental cause. That's part and parcel of what it means to be a human being and have the capacity to intellectualize, to think. Other than that fundamental law, there are 8 primary laws. Now, most people these days are all wrapped up in talking about one of these little laws called the law of attraction. We're going to talk about that and the other 7. Important. They're all important, equally important to being consciously creative and being able to create the success that you want. The first of these is what I call the law of comprehensiveness, which means that everything is one. All is one. Everything is connected. I mean, we live in a universe. Uni means one, right? All is one. Everything is one connected whole. Even as individual pieces and segments of that whole, it is undeniable, no matter how egotistical we might be, to claim that we exist outside the universe. We are a part of one whole comprehensive thing. So it's the law of comprehensiveness. And as a result of that comprehensiveness, when we do something intentionally, willfully, we have an effect on every other thing. One whole thing. You cannot remove one molecule from a plate of fried rice without changing that plate of fried rice. Now, it may be so small you don't notice it, but it has changed it. And it's the same with you interacting with the universe. Because all is one, there is nothing that you are, do, and be that does not impact or change universe. And that's important to understand, because most people feel powerless, but you are indivisible from the entirety of it all, and you have an impact on the entirety of it all. And if you want to be consciously creative, you need to understand how you have an impact. Right? It's critically important. Okay. Then there's the law of conservation, which we all know in our little high school science class, as energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Everything can be changed. If in the universe, when we create something, we build a new house, for example, we build this great big mansion, right? We're not creating it from the atomic structure, we're not introducing new molecules into the universe, we're utilizing materials and we're transforming them from trees into lumber into a house, for example, okay? It is the same with everything, every act of creation that we do. We are transforming one form of energy into another form of energy. So that energy might be mental, emotional energy that we're transforming into a material energy, a pile of money, or a successful relationship or whatever, but we're transforming everything, okay? That energy, this law of conservation tells us that energy, for every possibility that you can imagine, already exists in the universe, and all you need to do is transform it. Everything already exists to create any ideal you can possibly imagine. It's already there. Next law is the law of harmonics. Everything is vibration. Now this is critical for your understanding because everything is vibration, vibrations behave in certain ways. They have frequency, they have modulation, they have amplitude, they have all these different characteristics, right? And because they behave in certain ways, you can learn how to manipulate that vibration in order to produce different results. And the way it works for us as human beings, when we think and when we emote, we're broadcasting that emotional and mental energy out into the universe. The universe is a big vast sea of intersecting and interlocking vibratory energies. Right? Everything, the sun, the stars, the moon, the planets, the house, the chair I'm sitting on, is a matrix of energy fields interacting with each other, right? At the subatomic structure level. When we think and when we emote, we're broadcasting our energy out into the mix of energy fields, vibratory energy that is out there in the universe, and it has an effect, and it produces results. And that's what the law of harmonics is about. Everything is vibration. When we vibrate in a certain way, we can produce discord or we can produce harmony. Right? Just like playing a piano. You hit the wrong keys and you're not going to make some very pleasant sounds. You're going to make noise, discordant noise. And when you play the right keys in the right order, you produce beautiful music. So we ourselves are constantly producing music by the way that we broadcast out into the universe in response to what we perceive is reality. In other words, the way we perceive the vibratory nature of the universe. So we need to learn how to harmonize our personal vibratory output with the way the universe works. And that's by understanding these laws and learning to think and feel in appropriate ways for the realization of our ideals. The law of polarity. Everything exists in opposites. Up and down, male and female, positive and negative poles on a battery. Everything exists in electrons and positrons and protons and everything exists in pairs of opposites. So those people who believe that it's possible to have all good things in life without a struggle, without having some things that can be judged bad, are confusing themselves. Everything exists in pairs of opposites. You push opposing forces. Now we can learn to use this opposites to propel us forward. So instead of putting the north and north poles of a magnet together and trying to push them together, and they're pushing themselves apart, if you line them up, in other words, and they will stick to each other, you can line up magnets from here to the moon. If you put north and south poles together instead of north and north, or south and south. So you need to harmonize yourself, put yourself into harmony, understanding that there is an opposite to everything, and utilizing this knowledge to make things line up properly for yourself. That's the law of polarity. The law of attraction. Okay, here it is, the big one everybody's talking about. Very simple, like energy is attracted to like energy. That's very simple. You see it all the time. Gravity is the biggest example of the law of attraction. Mass is attracted to mass. Very similar rates of vibration, very attracted to each other. People, like people, are attracted to each other. Winners love to hang around winners. Losers love to hang around losers. Like people are attracted to like people. Your energy will attract to you events, circumstances, people, and results that are in harmony with what you're broadcasting. So it's not what you want, not what you desire that's going to be attracted to you. It's what you're broadcasting. And yes, your desire is part of what you're broadcasting, but The law of attraction is that like energy is attracted to like energy. It's that simple. And it's no more complex than that. So if you want to attract things that you consider to be valuable into your life, you need to learn to resonate, vibrate alike those things. And that's important when it comes to money, because so many people have these fundamental beliefs about money, that it's evil or that it's hard or that it's limited. There's a certain amount of the pie, and if I have a bigger piece and you have a smaller piece kind of thing. People have these erroneous beliefs about wealth and money and our own personal ability to deserve any of that. So that's what we're vibrating. That's what we're broadcasting from the law of attraction. The law of allowingness, tied to basically the law of conservation. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but it can be transformed. Water can be boiled to produce steam. Water can be frozen to produce ice. Everything can be transformed from one state into another state. Right? That's important. It means that everything is possible. No matter how you find yourself right now, it can be transformed to a completely different state by applying a certain amount of directed intentional energy to that. Right? Like heat. Law of abundance. Everything multiplies. The universe is continuing to expand. New stars are continuing to be born. More space is continuing to be created. But we say the universe is infinite, but even so, it's getting bigger. One kernel of wheat planted produces about 80 kernels of wheat in the head of that wheat. One bushel of wheat planted produces about 80 bushels of wheat. Otherwise, we wouldn't have farmers. Everything multiplies. Your thoughts multiply, your feelings multiply, your results multiply. Everything multiplies, which is great. It means that we can expand who we are and who we are becoming and what we do and what we produce. We can constantly produce more. There is more wealth in the world today than there ever has been, not just because there's 6.5 billion people here, but because our imaginations have increased to the degree that we understand how it is that wealth is created. And we know we can go about creating wealth for ourselves individually and as a culture, or as a society. And finally, the law of compensation. Basically, it says there's a price for everything. Some people refer to karma, some people think of sin and retribution, or you're good and you get a reward kind of thing. The law of compensation says that there's a price for everything. So when you decide what it is that you want to create for yourself, you have to be prepared to pay the price. The price is usually as simple as the personal, energetic, focused output, the things that you do. That's usually just the price. But there's always a price for everything. And everything is in balance. Okay, so here's the action step for this understanding here of these laws, in addition to studying them more, so you can get to understand them, is spend at least 30 minutes a day reading the correct kind of success literature that supports your understanding of this information so that you begin to apply it to your life in a way that's meaningful for you. So in other words, turn off your television and start turning on that inner vision, okay? Step number 7, you need to have a plan. I call this charting the course. So if you just set off on some journey towards success without a clear destination in mind, that vision that's defined clearly for yourself, and without a map to follow or directions, specific directions on how to get to that destination, then you can end up who knows where, right? You don't know where you're going and you don't have a map to get there. You're going to end up who knows where. Maybe you won't even like it very much. So you need to have a map. That map is your plan that you create, because you're going to a destination that you decide. You've made this up in your imagination, this ideal, that's your destination. You need to now make the map. So that means a specific plan of action. Again, coming back to action, you need to take specific, intentional, on-purpose actions to fulfill that ideal. So and then here's what I suggest is you make a 5-year plan, right? 5 years, if it's going to take that long, I mean, maybe you want to say 6 months, but 5 years, 6 months, 3 years, break it down into, all of a sudden it comes down to one day. What is my action step today? What am I doing right now, today, to fulfill that ideal? So you need to start with the overall picture, break it down into time segments, create that strategic plan, okay? As you break it down, you'll find within that overall plan, you'll find that there are specific goals. By such and such a date, I need to have the financing in place to buy that island in the Caribbean, and by such and such a date, I need to have the architectural plans to put up those 14 houses I'm going to put on the island that I'm going to sell for $10 million each to those people out there in the world who want to have a home on a private island. So it's a specific action plan that's broken down into meaningful steps and specific time-dated goals, okay, that are all in harmony with this ideal that you've chosen for yourself. Very simple. Then you use a daily planner of some kind or another to manage your priorities and time. And it doesn't have to be complex, or paper or something you carry around. I spend so much time in front of my computer that I just use Outlook. I just use the time management aspect of Outlook, the calendar, the reminder, and the scheduling of events and whatnot. So for me, that's enough. But you need to use some sort of thing because your memory is not perfect. And you will allow yourself to not do that if your daily planner is not telling you that it's time to do that. And it also organizes your time and your priorities. Okay. So get a chart. Get your mastermind group to help you create that master plan, break it down into time segments, into goal segments, and then later on we'll talk about how to break it down into to-do lists. Okay, this is critical. Step number 8, speaking the truth. When I listen to the way most people talk about things, I find they're talking about mostly meaningless things. They meet somebody, a stranger someplace, or even a friend that you know, and you enter into a conversation. They're talking about things that are not important in any way, shape, or form to either themselves or to me. I don't care who won the football game. What I care about is what you're in the process of creating. I don't care what the latest movie star did to the other latest movie star in whose bedroom. What I care about is what you're doing to contribute to yourself, to your own success, to your life, to the lives of other human beings. What is that beautiful vision you're holding? That's what I care about. That's what's meaningful, not just to me, but to you. Yet in the conversation, you might be tempted to talk about the weather. Okay? So that's other people. Now, what about myself? That's what I need to do. I need to constantly pay attention to what I'm talking about, because the things that I should be talking about, I should be speaking the truth. And what is the truth about me? The truth about me are the ideals that I hold, the way that I think, the things that I believe, the intentions that I bring the intentionality that I bring to my life and the way I go about living it. That's what's important. That's what the truth is. So I need to speak that at all times. I need to say who I am and what I'm about. Right? And I know you've been told over and over again, probably by parents and teachers, not to talk about yourself. Nonsense. Why would you talk about something other than yourself? Is there anything more important in this life than you? Nothing. Right? Your ideals are critically important, and they are your truths, and you need to talk about them. And if you don't share them with other people, they cannot support you in helping those ideals come out into the real world. So you need to share that. You need to constantly affirm to yourself and to others the reality, beauty, and purpose of your ideals. And you need to spend at least 10 minutes a day thinking about the quality of your thinking and correcting it when you need to correct it, okay? So there's that old saying that below average people talk about other people, right? They read People magazine or those, European versions of People magazine that, talk about the latest movie star, the latest sports star, and what their lives are all about. They read that kind of magazine. You listen to their conversations. They're talking about other people. They're gossiping about other people, who did what, with when, whom, whatever. Right? That's below average people. Average people talk about events and circumstances. They talk about things. They talk about the news. Right? They watch the news every night, and they talk about the news the next day to their fellow workers and other people that they see. Did you see that or hear that so-and-so did such and such in Iraq or Iran or blah, 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 blah? All this stuff. They talk about things. Right? Above average people talk about ideas. Right? They'll talk about a philosophy. They'll talk about a way of being. Politics, for example. I'm a Democrat, or the Democratic version of reality is better than the Republican. They talk about ideas. These are above average people. Right? Super successful people talk about ideals. Whose ideals? Their own. And the ideals of the people that they are in a mastermind group, or the people that they associate with. They'll talk about their ideals as well. They talk about ideals. So if you want to be successful, talk about the ideals that you're creating in your imagination, and stop talking about other people and what the heck they're doing behind their bedroom doors. Step number 9, acting the part. Okay. Critical understanding. We need to do, we need to act. Knowledge, understanding, and wisdom can teach you the best way to act, but we need to act. Right? Knowledge alone, understanding alone, wisdom alone will not produce results. action produces results. Right? And I'm really firm about this because I have had so many conversations with people about the law of attraction, how if you just think a certain way, or feel a certain way, or vibrate a certain way, things are magically going to happen. Oh dear, I found a penny on the street. That means that wealth is coming my way. I mean, this is like some sort of neurosis that has overtaken the planet. You cannot produce results without action. Okay? Thinking properly, feeling properly, intending things, intending for certain results will help you to do the right actions. Okay? That's all it will do. Okay? So you can fully understand the law of attraction and all the other laws. Okay? And you have this whole harmonious mental attitude, and you're bouncing out there, and you've got the crystals in the right place and everything else. And you're doing all of this, but if you're not doing the actions that produce the results, you're not going to get the results. Knowledge alone is not power. It is applied knowledge that produces power. So, each evening before you go to bed, before you say your gratitude thing at night, make a to-do list. Okay? Based on your strategic plan, your goals, your orientation towards your vision, make a to-do list for the next day so that you know what correct actions you're going to take on purpose, with intentionality, to produce the results that you want to have in your life. And then follow your to-do list. Treat yourself as if you were a child, because we all are still, in some sense, children. So treat yourself as if you're a child. This is what I need to do tomorrow. This is my to-do list. Boom, 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 boom. And if we do this every single day, guess what? The results we produce will be amazing. Right? They'll be on purpose. Okay, so prioritize, manage your time, and then persist in that. Step number 10, follow your bliss. Okay, this is a tough one. Passion is important. We talked about that. Often we make the mistake of thinking that we need to create this ideal because somebody else has told us that that is what success is. And as a consequence, we're doing something that we don't really like, and we're trying to convince ourselves that we love it. So we need to find out what it is that enthralls us, that makes us just automatically be excited. For me, it's writing, sharing this kind of information with people, doing what I'm doing right now. I'm like in the zone. I'm where I feel best about myself right now, is doing what I'm doing here, because hopefully I'm contributing some value. You need to find what it is that enthralls you, and then talk to your mastermind people and find a way to create that strategic action plan to have that produce results. Turn it into an action plan that pays, I say here. Right? And allow your imagination to play with the possibilities, because the law of allowingness says that everything is possible. Everything is possible. If you like to sit in the corner and cut out little dolls from paper, then once you fold the paper up and you make one cut and you unfold it, and then you've got 10 of them identical. If that's what turns you on and that's what fills you with bliss and happiness, there is a way for you to turn that into a mechanism that's going to produce abundance in your life. Allow your imagination to expand, to allow that idea to come to you. And there is always a way for everything to happen. The law of allowingness. Step number 11, which is also step number 1. And it's called Look in the Mirror, or a mirror, mirror is what is called the chapter in the new book. Know yourself. We, myself included, have an incredible ability to lie to ourselves about who we are and what we're about. An incredible ability. We are so delusional sometimes it's beyond my capacity to understand our ability to delude ourselves about the truth about ourselves. So we need to get to know ourselves, and that takes a stark honesty and a willingness to examine how we think, how we feel, why we're thinking that way, why we're feeling that way, what we believe to be reality, what we believe to be true. I ask people all the time, they say something, and I say, well, why do you believe that? And they say, because it's true. And I say, but I don't believe it. Does that mean I'm deluded or you're deluded? One of us has got to be wrong if I believe something totally opposite to you. Right? So why do you believe it? Because it's true. Chances are it's not. Chances are it's just a truth. Chances are it's just something you were told is true. Right? So we need to be really critically honest with ourselves. We need to take a look at our belief systems. We need to take a look at the way we think. We need to take a look at why we feel the way we do about certain things. Right? And then intentionally start to take control of who we are. I'm going to believe this particular thing because it serves me to believe that. Not because somebody else indoctrinated me with it once upon a time and said, this is the truth and this is what you should believe. Right? I'm going to believe something only if it serves me to believe it, in some way serves me. I'm going to think certain things because they serve me to think that way, not because somebody else said I should think that way, or because there was a program on TV that runs in my head, or the news program came on, or my neighbor said this. I'm going to think what I need to think because it serves me to think this way. I'm going to feel the way I want to feel, or the way I think I need to feel in order for manifestation to take place. In other words, attach passion to my ideal, because it serves me to feel that way. Right? I'm going to look in the mirror, and I'm going to be honest with myself when I'm not practicing self-mastery. I'm not going to be delusional. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, but I wasn't really, I was just distracted for a moment. I wasn't really intending to do that. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a child and say, oh, well, it was just an accident. I'm going to take responsibility for me. And I'm going to do that by being honest. I'm going to look in the mirror and see who I am. All the flaws, all the beautiful parts, everything, and I'm going to take that courage and that understanding and use that to model myself in a new way in order to produce different results in my life. All right? So look in the mirror. And once you've done that, and you understand who you are, that you're not your body, you're not your mind, you're not even your spirit, you're certainly not your job, your function, you're not your religion, you're not your name, you're not your race, your gender, you're not any descriptive that you can put on you. You are that consciousness, that awareness of self that asks the question, who am I? That's who you are, and that is almost unknowable. It's a great, wondrous, beautiful mystery to be that awareness that is capable of having this body, having this mind, of having this particular gender, of having this color hair, of having this job, of having this ideal, of being able to choose how to think, of being able to choose how to feel, of being able to choose the way I believe and the way I perceive reality. I am that wondrous awareness that can do that. So are you. And that's who you are. You are the chooser. That's who you are. Your observer and the chooser. And your choice points create your reality. So you're a magical, miraculous, wondrous creature beyond understanding. I mean, you are so wondrous that the whole universe is contained within your imagination. Every bit of it. When you look out there at night, you see all those stars. That all exists in your imagination. And that's where the concept of the universe is. It exists in your imagination. And you can change your imagination. You can imagine new things, okay? You are the most wondrous creature. And you have the capacity to choose and to consciously create things in your life. So, make a list, in order to be honest with yourself, make a list about your fundamental beliefs about life, about yourself, and your ability to create success. And resolve to discard those beliefs that do not serve you, and to take on new ones that do serve you. Very simple thing. I mean, it's tough, but it's simple. Believing this does not support my success. Therefore, I'm not going to believe it anymore. Throw it away. In order to support my success, I need to believe that I'm capable of creating success. I need to believe that I deserve to have success. Those are the beliefs I need to have. Therefore, that's what I'm going to believe. I believe that I deserve success more than anybody else. I believe that I can create success as easily as snapping my fingers. Those beliefs serve me. To believe that it is a struggle, to believe that I need to take away something from somebody else in order to create success for myself does not serve me and will not serve you either. So, I'm going to be prepared to look at my beliefs. You should be prepared to look at your beliefs and discard, get rid of those that do not serve you, your happiness, your personal fulfillment, and your success in life. Okay? Because you can be whatever you desire to become. So, the same thing about your thinking, the same thing about your feeling. We've gone over that. Know yourself. Understand who you are, that mysterious, magical consciousness, that awareness that has the ability to run around on planet Earth and play so creatively and do whatever you want to do. Okay? And then start over at step number 1 and envisioneer your reality now that you have discovered and become that more profound human being. And this is a continuous step. The more you become, the more you're capable of becoming. The more you become, the more you're capable of doing. And the more that you are capable of doing, the more you're capable of creating and bringing out into the real world. Making manifest, if you will. Okay. So, the formula. Be, do, have, right? Be, do, have. In order to have the things, the results that you desire, you must do what needs to be done. In order to do what needs to be done, you must become the person capable of doing those things. In order to become the person that you are capable of becoming, you must choose self-mastery. Self-mastery means making conscious, intentional choices. So the formula is always be, do, have. Okay? Become, enact, attain. Be, do, have. Become, enact, attain. So resolve today to become all that you're capable of becoming. Believe in yourself. I believe in you, and believe in your right to have the success you desire. Of course you deserve it. My goodness me, why not? Of course you deserve it, just for being here. Okay, so start over step one, create the vision. That's it for me. Thank you very much. Prosperity Paradigm is out there if you want to join it, www.prosperityparadigm.com. Go over and sign your name up on the little form. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to share with you today. It's been a great pleasure for me. Love you all.